Beard is the hair that grows on the face. Hair is connected with Lord Saturn. Saturn represents maturity. Whenever Saturn is not connected with Rahu or Ketu and is placed positively, then maturity comes, and maturity is significant irrespective whether you are living a material life or spiritual life. Maturity is very important. I see that many of you love my channel, but there are certain negative people who either don't have the depth of understanding or they are simply interested in hurting me by posting negative comments. They can go on posting negative comments and I will keep deleting those, because I never respond to negative people. This kind of negative people will suffer a lot in their life. So the topic is that why growing beard can bring luck to certain men. Which planet is connected to beard? One has to understand the true essence of maturity. Maturity has nothing to do with age. Maturity has more to do with your own self-growth. Any person whose Saturn is well placed, whose Saturn is not aspected negatively, such a person attains maturity much earlier than the others. And then there are people, men and women, who simply never mature, no matter what age they are, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, they just don't mature. Once it happened, Gautam Buddha was having a conversation with the emperor, and the emperor was 45 years old and he was asking many questions. And Buddha was smiling and responding when a very old monk came and touched the feet of Buddha and said, "I am very sorry to have interrupted your conversation, but Master, it is getting dark and the sun may set soon. I need your permission so that I can leave for the next monastery." The Buddhist monks don't move after sunset. Buddha said, "You can leave. You have my permission. But could you please tell me, what is your age?" The old monk smiled and said, "Master, I am only 4 years old." Buddha said, "You can leave now. My blessings are with you." The old monk left, but the emperor was listening and he was taken aback, because the old monk looked around 75 years old, and still how come he said, "I am just 4 years old?" The emperor could not resist his curiosity. He fell upon the feet of Buddha and said, "Master, that old monk looked over 72 years. And yet how come he said, "I am 4 years old"? I don't get it. And again, why would you ask him such a weird question that was out of context?" This time Buddha laughed and said, "That question was not for him in the true sense. That question was for you, so that you come back to your senses. The real saint is not a cat, he is a lion." And now the emperor could feel the roar of the lion, the master. He bowed again before Buddha and said, "Please explain. I am still novice to understand your divine message." Gautam Buddha said, "Real age is not based on how many years you have existed on this planet. Real age is based on how much you have grown within, how much you have spent your time and energy in turning inwards. The old monk must be above 70 years, but when he answered, I am 4 years old, it simply means that he is taking efforts, he is meditating, turning inwards, and walking on the path of attaining self realization from last 4 years. And that is the real age. He knows his real age. Now you tell me, what is your real age? The emperor became speechless. He had no answer. He fell upon the master's feet and started crying. He said, I am still to be born because I have been spending my whole life in running behind wealth, power, sex, and pleasures. And now I have realized what an idiot I had been. Master, you have been so compassionate towards me. How could I thank you? How could I express my gratitude towards you? Through this small incident, through just one question, you have opened the whole eternity, the whole essence of Buddhahood before me. I remain indebted towards your compassion, your grace. My fellows, real age is simply based on the years you have spent in turning inwards, in meditating, in realizing yourself. That is the real age. The rest is simply numbers, and numbers don't bring maturity. Experience brings maturity. Saturn represents maturity. This maturity comes when you start turning inwards, when you start focusing within. And when you are so much focused within, where is the time to shave? Understand this. This is significant. Men who practice deep penance, meditations, are often found with long beards. Such men are great yogis, great mystics. Men who live for the larger interest of the people are often found with beards. Such men are rulers, kings, ministers. Saturn represents all of these men, from yogi to monarchy, highest authority. Understand the fact that these men never grow beard because they have to grow. It simply happens naturally. They are so much engrossed and fired up with the higher purpose of life that the beard simply keeps growing naturally. And Saturn loves these men because Saturn loves natural course of life. Shaving the beard is not natural. You are cutting, you are disturbing the natural course of life, and Saturn is watching. Beard brings maturity to your face, and the same beard also has the potential to bring maturity in your life. In fact, maturity comes through the beard because it signifies that you are busy with something that belongs to the higher altitudes of life. Saturn is represented by maturity. That is the reason when beard starts growing on your face, you look more matured. And when Saturn is positive in your chart, then this Saturn can bring maturity. Growth comes through maturity. And Saturn brings growth in your material aspects of life. Once it happened. Abraham Lincoln, a clean-shaved man, was planning to fight the US presidential elections. Abraham Lincoln was indeed one of the greatest genius that the US had ever had. But he had a shortcoming. In the context of the American society, he was not a very handsome man. And so, even though he was a genius, he was struggling to make his way through the US presidential elections. There were many candidates, and they all were white. Lincoln was not a white in totality, he was brown. And the fight was tough. The way to the White House was full of challenges. As the US presidential elections were coming closer, Lincoln was aggressively campaigning all over the US. And so, for one of his campaign speech, Lincoln arrived at Westfield, New York. And he gave one of the most engrossing speech of his life. And the whole ground was packed with audience, and they all cheered. Among them was one little girl. Her name was Grace. After the speech, the little girl, Grace, goes to Lincoln and shares a very insightful message. She suggests that Lincoln should grow beard on his face, as that will give a much better look to his face and also will cover the spots on his face that are not so appealing. Lincoln was a man of awareness. A man of awareness never lets in his ego. He thinks over the suggestions shared. Lincoln didn't rule out her suggestion. In fact, he gave a serious thought to it and started growing the beard. And the beard gave him a totally new personality. Now you don't see his pictures anywhere without beard. Now you don't see the ugliness, the spots anywhere on his face. Now you find his face more appealing. And it is said that after that makeover, Lincoln goes on to win the presidential elections. He becomes the President of America. And Lincoln was such a beautiful person, a man of heart, that after winning and becoming the president, he remembers the little girl and her suggestion. And as a mark of gratitude, he writes a letter to the little girl. In his letter to that little girl, he writes, "Your suggestion worked." A great man, an insightful man of great understanding, Abraham Lincoln, seen with a beard in this beautiful picture. And the little girl whose suggestion helped Lincoln win the elections, her name was Grace Greenwood, and you can see her picture as well. After few months of becoming the president, Abraham Lincoln visits the same place where the little girl had suggested him to grow the beard. And in that crowd, when he talks about this little girl, suddenly a very old man comes walking, finding his way through the crowd. And along with him is the little girl. He comes and says to President Lincoln, "Mr. President, that girl, my daughter, her name is Grace Greenwood." Listening to these words and finding the little girl standing before him, President Lincoln steps down and kisses the little girl. Tears of gratitude rolling from his eyes, he says, "Gracie, look at my beard. I have been growing them for you." A beard of many months that had grown longer touched the cheeks of that little girl. She smiled. Her suggestion worked. Today, at the same place, Westfield, New York, a monument of this unique meeting between President Lincoln and Grace Greenwood, the little girl, is instilled, and this monument reminds us of the fact that at times even simple, small, genuine suggestions, no matter from whom or from where it comes, it can change your life. Only if you have the heart of Lincoln and the awareness and readiness to listen. Although I have been to the US several times, I never got to visit this place, else it would have been a beautiful moment to experience the spot where the little girl had given a life-changing suggestion to Lincoln, the suggestion to grow beard. Saturn loves men with beard, but you should grow beard only if your Saturn is not with Rahu or Ketu. Only if your Saturn is well placed. There are 5 dimensions to grow beard. Understand this. This is very significant. The first, men who grow beard out of depression, out of setbacks. The reason beard grows on their face is that they are not interested to take the effort to shave, because they are depressed with situation, with life, and so the beard keeps growing. This kind of situations occur when Shani or Saturn is impacted or affected by a malefic Rahu or weak Ketu. Always remember, whenever Rahu is powerful, Saturn is weak, and whenever Saturn is powerful, Rahu is weak. It's a very deep subject. Someday I will share more on this. Men who do not grow beard, but beard grows on its own, because these men are not focused much on the outside, but within. These men are the ones who are yogis. Case in such a scenario is Shani is well placed and moreover in some way or the other touched positively by Guru, that is by Jupiter. Always remember, whenever Saturn is blessed with the aspect of Jupiter, whenever there is a conjunction or any trine aspect between Saturn and Jupiter, then Rahu becomes weak. Men who do not grow beard, but beard grows on its own, because these men are so much focused on serving the people, serving the larger interest of the people, that they simply don't have much interest in spending their time in shaving every day. These men are kings and prime ministers and CEOs and those who are highest authorities in their profession. In this case, Saturn is well placed and moreover in some way or the other touched positively by Venus or Jupiter or Mercury. Men who grow beard just as a part of fashion and giving different looks to their appearance, they generally are the common men or film media personalities. In this case, Saturn is strong and generally is well placed with aspects from Venus, Mercury. Generally, such a horoscope is pure material, that is bhogi by nature, and such men don beards to attract the opposite sex, that is woman. And then there are men who simply don't have the money to spend on shaving every day. Poverty is the reason behind their beard. In such a case, Saturn is too weak and also afflicted, a sign of a very bad, poor past karmic dues. And when Saturn is weak, Rahu comes in power, and so such men are of the lowest strata of the society, beggars, thieves, petty loafers, etc. So you see, Saturn, beard manifests in so many dimensions. And so whenever you observe a man with beard, you first have to see through which dimension the man has beard on his face. Just from the observation, a man of awareness can find out whether Saturn is placed positively or negatively in a man's chart. Very soon, in the month of October, my new book, Saturn Demystified Spiritually, is coming. And I have covered and mentioned many things, and I am certain that these things that I have mentioned about Saturn or about Sadesati and the remedies that I have mentioned in this new book will help my followers, and my readers. I have seen many men who has the tendency to grow beard when transiting Saturn comes closer to their natal moon. And this happens only during the so-called Sadesati period. And the period of Sadesati is the period of transformation. The whole human body is going through transformation. The physical body, the mental plane, the soul plane, the whole person goes through a great change, and the change can be revolutionizing and very surprising too. Our current Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi, also went through a great transformation during his Sadesati period. He became the Prime Minister of India exactly when his Sadesati was going on. And if you observe the many phases of his life, then beard was not on his face during the early stages of his life, during his 20s and 30s. But as he grew older, the beard became prominent, leading him to many prominent positions in politics. Beard has a connection to one's success, one's growth in authority, in gaining power. But one has to first observe if beard can truly become a lucky charm for you the way it became for President Abraham Lincoln and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Always remember, life is not one-dimensional. Similarly, a beard is also not based on just one dimension. There are many dimensions, some of them I have shared with you all. Generally, Saturn, who has the power of providing you with authority, likes beard. But as mentioned earlier, one has to see through what dimension the beard has grown or is appearing on the face. Generally, as mentioned earlier, there are 5 dimensions. First, the beard appears through spiritual penance, meditations, because of total focus within. The second dimension is material world gains, running the country, industry, running a big company, social work, in nutshell, devoted to people and people's well-being, someone thriving to bring some good things in this human world. The third dimension for the beard to appear is the fashion craze, changing the overall look of the face just to appear more matured or more stylish. The fourth dimension for beard appearing on the face is depression. Out of depression because of laziness and an ignorant lifestyle. And the fifth dimension for the beard to appear on your face is out of poverty, not able to afford the daily expenses of shaving the beard. In the society, you will see men having beards, and most of them will fall in any of the above mentioned categories. In the society, you will see men having beards, and most of them will fall in either of these 5 dimensions. In all, the above 5 dimensions, only the first 2 dimensions, where the person simply is engrossed in either his spiritual journey or material journey, is what Saturn favors. The last 3 dimensions or categories doesn't make any sense to the nature of Saturn. One significant benefit of the beard, that is of Saturn, is that a man who is on his spiritual path, when such a man grows beard, generally women don't get attracted towards him, and that makes his path more smoother, no disturbances, no distractions, and life is a garden of bliss. Majority of women like clean shaved men, so they remain far away, while The spiritual man with his beard continues his journey towards the beyond, the unseen, the divine. So beard has many advantages to it. Depends through what dimension the beard is appearing on the face. In the true sense, the real beard is that beard which has grown out of maturity and not the other way round. People grow beard to look mature, but Lord Saturn is saying that become so matured, become so engrossed in your work for the larger interest of the people, become so engrossed in your meditations that the beard grows on its own accord. And that beard is the real beard, the real sign of your maturity. Always remember, maturity has nothing to do with your life experiences. It has something to do with your inward journey, experiences of the inner. Matured person is not possessive. He understands love more than anybody else. Immature people falling in love destroy each other's freedom. They create a bondage, make a prison. Mature persons in love help each other to be free. They help each other to destroy all sorts of bondages. And when love flows with freedom, there is beauty. When love flows with dependence, there is ugliness. Saturn is original. Saturn likes all that is original. To mature is to be yourself. Then no matter what, you will never compromise. A man who is sure about his stand, about his thoughts, about his perception towards a certain matter, towards life, will never compromise whatsoever. He may prefer to die than to compromise. Always remember, try to find your individuality, your integrity, and make the effort of not compromising. Because the more you compromise, the less you are an individual. Saturn is not afraid of anybody. A matured man is also not afraid of anybody. He would never settle. He would never compromise with his principles, with his ideology, with his ethics. And that is what Saturn likes. And so, don't grow the beard. Instead, let the beard grow naturally as you remain rooted within, as you remain devoted to your goals, to the higher purpose of life. Those who grow beard are style masters. Saturn is seeking not style masters, but the real masters. Be the real master. Look within and let the nature take its own course as your spiritual journey continues. Om Sham Shaneshwaraya Namaha. Om Sham Shaneshwaraya Namaha. Om Sham Shaneshwaraya Namaha. Shani or Saturn is a friend, the most beautiful friend you could ever have in this human world. But he is not liked by many because he is a friend who speaks the truth. He will tell you exactly that which is the hard truth. He is not a fake friend who will just continue to butter you. He will always bring you to your senses. He is always the one who will bring awareness to you. Without Saturn, this world would have been dead. It is because of Saturn that the light of consciousness is still in existence. The universe is in existence. The law is in existence. I earnestly prostrate before the Lord of Lords, Lord Shanidev, Lord Saturn. Saturn is indeed a friend, a great friend, whose worth only a few could understand. And it is only those few who rise in life, who become the torch, the light for many. Be that light, because even one candle can lighten millions of candles. It is possible. It is always possible. Love to you all, and remember to meditate every day. Jai Sri Ganesha, Jai Guru, Jai Shanidev.